It's awkward outside. It's weird. It's intense. Nobody really wants to be here. Dad doesn't want to be here. Robyn doesn't want to be here. Mom doesn't want to be here. It's weird. It's intense and it's uncomfortable.
When the drama and sarcasm reach new heights, let's break it down. First, Christine's farewell scene before she leaves. It's so obvious that Robyn, ever the victim, bless her heart, twisted everything to make it look like Christine didn't want anything to do with her kids. You can practically see it in the photos. Newsflash: Christine never said she didn't want a relationship with Robyn's kids. What she actually said was that she wasn't interested in trying to work on her relationship with the wives for now. But of course, Robyn, being the perpetual martyr, took that and spun it into the sob story we all know and love. Because apparently, Robyn's whole identity revolves around being the wronged party. Always. Then, in episode 12, the drama just keeps on coming. Robyn opens with, "It's really hard to be optimistic when a bomb just went off and blew up pretty much all of your hopes. The collateral damage will last for generations." Cue the eye roll. Someone get this woman a nomination for Best Dramatic Performance, because that line is a whole production. A bomb went off? Really? The only thing that's blowing up is Robyn's over-the-top emotional meltdown. And don't even get me started on Kody. You know, the guy who thinks a 99-degree fever is a near-death experience. That's barely above normal, dude. But sure, panic and call the EMTs. The drama is real. It's honestly surreal watching him claim he's some kind of coronavirus martyr. He goes to hug Truly but won't let Eri. Or was it Solomon? Who cares? Give her a hug. Why? Oh, because of coronavirus, of course. Except for the fact that he's been out and about maskless, gallivanting with Robyn and her kids, while the rest of the world is locked in a pandemic. Yet Truly can't have a hug from her siblings, because Kody's rules are just that important, right? It's all just another one of Kody's classic control tactics. Why would you let kids have some comfort and say goodbye? Nope, not in Kody's world. Gotta keep them away, create some chaos, and keep the whole thing about him. Honestly, he's like a mean girl bully stuck in a grown man's body. You know, he just wants the attention on him, and if he can make everyone else miserable in the process, so much the better. Meanwhile, Robyn and Kody are prancing around town maskless, playing coronavirus-19 dodgeball. Go figure. And oh, don't forget Robyn's "thank you Christine" moment. Christine nailed it when she pointed out Robyn's drama queen tendencies. If anyone needed more proof of how much Robyn thrives on chaos, the photos speak for themselves. Christine's been calling this out from way back in season 4, when she had a very mature sit-down with Robyn, explaining that her issues with Kody had nothing to do with her. But Robyn, of course, just can't seem to let that go. She's the real problem here, always has been, always will be. In conclusion, nothing has changed. It's just a whole lot of recycled drama and manipulation. Honestly, at this point, if you need proof that Robyn's the problem, just take a look at any episode. She's the one pulling all the strings, creating chaos for her own twisted entertainment. We've got so much to dive into today, so let's not waste any time. Let's jump straight into it. Hey everyone, what's up? It's Elena here, and welcome back to my channel Reality Nexus X, the fake crying. Watching the season 18 tell-all, and honestly, the entire show, has me wanting to scream. Seriously, when is someone going to call Robyn out on those ridiculous fake tears? It's so over-the-top, childlike, and manipulative. And the worst part? She keeps doing it because everyone just lets her. Why is no one stepping up to say something? The constant tissue waving, drying eyes on repeat, in high definition, no less. It's just too much. Christine and Janelle? Yeah, they're done with it. You can practically see the eye rolls. They've seen it all before. Notice how they never acknowledge her tears? They're basically numb to it at this point. And then Meri and Kody? Their total lack of response when Robyn needs to take a walk during that last conversation? I actually laughed out loud. That's how they treat her emotional breakdowns. and she looked like she was genuinely having a moment, but I couldn't stop giggling. Honestly, it feels like the gloves came off for the OG3 last season. So if they're all coming back, I'm expecting some seriously sharp and savage comments to start flying. Did the Brown family prove polygamy doesn't work? Well, it sure seems like they did. Kody Brown and his wives set out to show the world that polygamy could be a viable, even harmonious lifestyle. But as it turns out, their little experiment was more of a textbook case of how not to do it. In the earlier seasons of the show, the family portrayed themselves as this united, happy, polygamous tribe. But spoiler alert, it was all a facade. As the seasons were on, particularly in the Flagstaff episodes, the cracks started to show. The wives weren't as thrilled with the arrangement as the producers made them look, and the constant competition for Kody's attention became impossible to hide. The truth was, the Brown family's polygamous setup wasn't an example of a functional family. It was a disaster waiting to happen. The misery, tension, and conflict that simmered below the surface finally spilled over, leading to the family's eventual breakdown. It was like watching a reality TV show where the central theme was polygamy doesn't work, despite their best efforts to paint it otherwise. But did the Browns prove what many of us suspected all along? That polygamy can be abusive and damaging to the wives? It's hard to argue against it, considering the emotional and mental toll we saw them endure. Polygamy, in this case, seemed to be less about love and more about control, favoritism, and a whole lot of misery for the wives involved. Maybe not physical abuse, but verbal and emotional? Definitely. When a system is designed to create rivalry and dependency rather than support and equality, the result is pretty predictable. And let's not forget the cultural anthropologists they brought in to sprinkle some legitimacy on the whole thing. Sure, polygamy can work if the wives are friends, the husband treats them equally, and there's plenty of money to go around. But Kody and his wives had none of that. They only had money once the show started, but that wasn't enough to fix the fundamental problems. They didn't have the unity or the resources that might have helped their system function. In fact, the only thing they had was a reality TV paycheck and some very unhappy wives. As for their kids, well, the first 13 were clear on one thing. They didn't want any part of their parents' lifestyle. Polygamy wasn't even on their radar, and it's not hard to see why. They watched their father struggle to provide, watched him bring in a much younger wife and 3 more kids into an already precarious situation, and grew up seeing their family dynamic slowly fall apart. No wonder they wanted no part in that. To be honest, the show was kind of like a slow-motion car crash. Watching it unfold, you knew it wasn't going to end well, but it was hard to look away. The wives were visibly unhappy for much of the series, and it was almost painful to see them pretend to be okay when they clearly weren't. Sure, they were supposed to be modern polygamists, but they ended up facing many of the same problems that polygamy is notorious for. At least, in the end, they got honest about it. That's something, right? In the end, the Brown family didn't just prove polygamy doesn't work. They practically demonstrated why it's a broken system, especially when you add in the dynamics of control, favoritism, and limited resources. Maybe it's time to take a hard look at whether this lifestyle should be allowed in the modern world. Just a thought. All right, let's dive into some truly unpopular opinions about sister wives. Spoiler, the adults? A mess. Like a hot mess. The oldest kids? Basically parentified, raised in a dysfunctional circus where dad was more of a ghost than a parent. And let's not forget the brilliant decisions these grown-ups made, like uprooting the whole family, abandoning any semblance of family culture, and turning their lives into a never-ending reality show train wreck. Seriously, I'll never stop thinking these adults were selfish in every possible way. Now, let's talk Janelle, the financial guru of the bunch. Remember when she was supposed to be the practical one with the finances? Newsflash, not so much. The woman bought a trailer that screams questionable impulse buy. put Kody's name on her Coyote pass lot, agreed to pay off Robyn's credit card debt like it was a totally normal thing to do, and, oh yeah, rented for 5 years in Flagstaff. Truly the financial mastermind we were all promised. And then there's Robyn. People think she's some sort of cunning mastermind, right? Ha, wrong. She's just not that smart. She's damaged, selfish, and probably too emotionally exhausted to think anything through. She didn't plan a thing. She just threw out demands, and Kody? Well, he's so predictable. He said yes to every single one of them. No real consideration for the fallout. She got what she wanted, and that was good enough for her. Classic Robyn. So Robyn and jealousy? A match made in drama. Let's break this down. Robyn's jealousy, especially toward Christine, isn't just a fleeting thing. It's like a low-key constant, simmering under the surface. And here's the theory. What if Robyn was jealous of Christine, not just for the usual reasons, but for her lineage and the potential status that Christine's family could bring within the church? Robyn, is the type to want it all, right? She's not just trying to be the main wife. She's aiming for the top spot in the whole family dynamic. So what better way to secure her position than to monopolize Kody's attention and slowly start relocating the family, first to Vegas, then Flagstaff, keeping Christine away from her support system, and maybe even making it harder for her to maintain that spiritual authority she had. Maybe it's all part of the grand plan to eliminate competition. And oh, the jealousy isn't just reserved for Christine's position or influence. It's practically her default setting. Did you catch the conversation after Ysabel's surgery? Everyone is all focused on her recovery, being loving and supportive after such a serious ordeal. And then Robyn somehow steers the conversation toward height. Like, what even? She starts going on about how all the kids and the moms are competitive. Sounds like someone's projecting a little too hard, don't you think? It's almost like Robyn needs to take the spotlight, even if it means trying to undermine Christine's role in the family. Christine has always been the heart of it all, the one everyone gravitates toward. And when Christine left, well, it wasn't just her walking away. The rest of the family followed. That speaks volumes, doesn't it? Robyn may have wanted to be the heart, but Christine was it. You can't just replace that. Am I crazy for thinking it's totally fine for Christine not to want to be around Ken? The guy said some seriously messed up stuff. And then there's Kody, who completely lost it on Christine, being all rude and obnoxious, not to mention the wives who piled on. Am I missing something here? Let's be real. Imagine if some guy close to Kody said something that ticked Robyn off. What do you think Kody would do? Tell her to just suck it up and stop whining because it's just PMS. Oh wait, you don't have to imagine that because it actually happened. Kody straight up disowned his own sons over it. Yet he thinks Christine is crazy for wanting an apology. Meanwhile, he demands apologies from his sons and insists they admit he's right, like he's the moral authority. It's all about humiliation at this point. But here's the kicker. Ken, the same guy who made all those offensive comments, calls Christine to apologize after he watches the episode. You know what that did. It made Kody look like even more of an idiot than if he just stood up for his wife in the first place. Ken knew he was being the jerk, but also thought he was joking. It wasn't meant to be personal, but Kody didn't care. He just wanted to stir the pot. Honestly, Ken got a raw deal. The guy clearly had good intentions, thinking that the only way Kody could find salvation was by converting to his religion of choice. So Ken talked to Kody in private, suggesting it to him. But of course, Kody took that personal conversation and broadcasted it to the wives, making it sound like Ken wanted him to ditch them and rejoin Ken's church. It wasn't a public attack on the wives. He never said any of that to their faces, so he didn't owe them an apology. Kody, on the other hand, has absolutely no problem keeping secrets from his wives. Hello, secret courtships for marriages 2 and 4, not to mention his shady business dealings. But here he is, blabbing everything to the wives like he's trying to stir up drama. And let's talk about Janelle. She casually drops that bomb about Ken and then just vanishes into the background like she's trying to avoid getting caught in the fallout. She knew exactly what she was doing, and frankly, she couldn't care less. It wasn't exactly a sister-wife solidarity moment. Just saying. So, was that the real Kody all along? I first tuned in when the very first episode aired, back when everything seemed fine and dandy. Kody was portrayed as the charismatic, relatively positive guy, while the wives had their drama, but nothing that screamed total meltdown. But then I kept seeing comments about divorces, betrayals, and all kinds of chaos. So I decided to fast forward to season 18 for the one-on-one interviews. And, whoa, holy guacamole, things have changed. Kody's attitude now? A straight-up horror show. The guy gives off major sociopath vibes. Seriously, he's so creepy now, it's like watching a whole different person. It got me wondering, was he always like this, hiding behind that fake charm, or did his lifestyle turn him into this monster? Either way, I'm buckled in and ready to watch the train wreck that is the rest of the seasons. I can't wait to see the downfall in real time. And can we talk about Janelle for a second? She's honestly thriving. I was shocked at how well she's aged, like she looks amazing. Meanwhile, Kody and Robyn? Yikes. Seeing them together was an actual jump scare. But the real win here is seeing the original 3 wives living their best lives. All of them are glowing, and I'm so here for it. The dark cloud that hung over them for years is finally gone, and they get to be happy and free. As for Kody, he wanted to be the center of everything, constantly surrounded by people who were basically his personal entourage. At first, that seemed to fill his narcissistic ego, but now it's all falling apart. Why? 2 major reasons. First, the kids grew up. They stopped fawning over him, stopped idolizing him, and started having their own thoughts and lives. Second, Robyn's arrival just opened the floodgates. Suddenly, all the abuse, the neglect, and the unfairness that was happening behind closed doors came to light. Basically, Kody lost control of his little kingdom, and now we're seeing the real him. The truth is, the real Kody was probably always there, lurking in the background. We just didn't notice it until now. His whole inflated sense of self-worth came from the adoration of his younger kids, who were too naive to question anything. They idolized him, and that fed his ego for years. But the cracks started to show when Robyn joined the family, and from there, it all spiraled. The drama just piled up as the wives started realizing how much they were being neglected and mistreated. And as their kids grew older, they stopped worshiping the ground Kody walked on. He didn't like that. Now he's miserable, and the cracks in the facade are too wide to ignore. So yeah, I guess we were all blind to it at first, but now it's crystal clear. The real Kody has been here all along. It's just been hiding under layers of control, narcissism, and the fantasy of being the almighty patriarch. And now that it's crumbling, we're finally seeing the actual Kody. Oh wow, where do I even begin with this mess? So here I am, finally catching up. I'm on season 16, episode 9, and I know, I'm late to the party. Forgive me, but what the hell? Kody straight up says he doesn't have a main wife, but oh yeah, sure. You've clearly been dodging every single one of your kids except for Robyn's, so that's a great start. Then he goes to Janelle's mom's funeral, comes back, takes a coronavirus test, because obviously that's the first priority after a funeral, and heads straight back to Robyn. Kody, was this not the perfect opportunity to actually, I don't know, stay with Janelle and maybe catch up with her after everything she's been going through? But no, instead, you practically run to Robyn like you can't survive without her. And the absolute cherry on top. He's out here hugging and loving on Robyn's kids like they're oxygen, but his other kids don't even think about it. They're basically invisible to him. Fuck Kody and Robyn both seriously. If he wanted to make it more obvious that Robyn is the main wife, he might as well have slapped a rhinestone tiara on her head with main wife in neon letters. Also, I'm just sitting here wondering, did the production crew, bless their hearts, actually think we'd find that whole daddy's home moment at Robyn's heartwarming, or were they just like, yeah, let's humor Kody and throw in a little wink for the audience? Rewatching episode 7, I'd completely forgotten about the time Ysabel and Breanna both ended up moving in with Meri and Leon. The explanation, though, a bit sketchy, to say the least. Apparently, 8-year-old Ysabel was butting heads too much with Christine. What else is new? And surprise, surprise, she got along much better with Meri. Christine, ever the comedian, quips that Ysabel should have been Meri's daughter instead of hers. Honestly, I love Christine's humor, but that comment came across as a little off. Then there's Robyn, who lets Breanna move in because, apparently, she's worried Meri might get hit with the empty nest syndrome when Liam graduates and might not want to be a mommy anymore. Classic Robyn, micromanaging everyone's life choices since the dawn of time. So yeah, this whole situation is a big WTF moment. Was it just a random sleepover turned into a storyline for drama? Probably. Oh, and this is also the same episode where Meri has a total meltdown on the kids in Big Bear. Not a single mom backs her up. Kody just stands there frowning like he's lost in the moment. And then Robyn and Kody whine about how Robyn's kids are apparently being bullied by some of the other brown kids. Classic drama, right? Fast forward to Ysabel talking about Meri on Patreon years later, where she confirmed Meri was her Meri Bear when she was little. Of course, they're not as close now, but they still like each other's social media posts. Christine has also mentioned in their book how Ysabel was sometimes hard to deal with. Guess she did prefer Meri. Meanwhile, Gwen shared a cute story about Meri giving Ysabel a stuffed bunny, washing it, and voila, the next day, the bunny multiplied into 7 bunnies. Classic Meri move. But back to the whole moving in thing. It was only for a weekend, because of course, so yeah, definitely a storyline filler. As for Meri losing her cool in Big Bear, I get it. She was speaking firmly, trying to set boundaries, because newsflash, boundaries were basically non-existent in that house. And let's not forget that Paedon, as an adult, has openly admitted to bullying the younger kids and Dayton. On top of that, Logan, yes, Logan, was in charge of disciplining Paedon and Gabe. Why was Logan in charge? Who knows? Also, Aspen seemed to be taking on a bit of a leadership role too. So Meri was probably just trying to shield the younger kids from all the chaos and misbehavior. Now, Christine's comments about Ysabel in this context would be super weird in a traditional family. But in their world of plural marriage and all that, it's almost like a running joke. I guess in their microculture, it might not seem as strange if one wife says that about another's kid. But if one of my mom's friends said that to her, she'd be all kinds of no, she's your daughter. Please don't talk like that. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next video. Take care and much love to you all.